The city lights glittered like shards of broken glass, scattered across the river that cut through the heart of the metropolis. From the terrace of Adrian Blackwood's penthouse, the view was intoxicating, a panorama of wealth, ambition, and danger. He often stood here alone, letting the hum of the city and the sharp night air clear his mind, or so he told himself. Tonight, though, he wasn't alone. Selene Moreau's heels clicked against the marble floor behind him, a sound that made his pulse stutter despite years of controlling every situation. She moved with the same deliberate grace she always carried, but tonight there was something else, something unspoken, lurking in her eyes. "Blackwood," she said, voice low, measured, carrying that mix of irritation and fascination he had come to know so well. "I should leave." Adrian didn't turn immediately. He didn't need to. He could feel her presence, like a storm pressing at the edges of calm water. "You're not going anywhere," he said finally, his voice dark and possessive. "Not tonight." Selena's brows arched, a flicker of challenge sparking in her gaze. "And why is that?" "Because," he said, turning slowly to face her, eyes catching the dim light like twin storms. "I don't let what I want slip away." She swallowed hard, her pulse rising in a rhythm she refused to acknowledge. He was infuriating, arrogant, maddening, and yet she couldn't deny the pull he had on her. The magnetic draw that made her breath catch in her throat. "You're insufferable," she said finally, trying to reclaim her composure, the silk of her gown swaying as she took a step closer. "Do you always do this? Appear where you shouldn't, make assumptions about people's thoughts about me?" Adrian smirked, a dangerous knowing curve of his lips that made her heart hammer. "Only when I want to," he said, taking a measured step toward her. "And I want you." Selena's breath hitched. The words simple, possessive, and electric hung between them like a blade. She hated that it affected her, hated that his gaze, sharp and unwavering, made her pulse race. And yet, there it was, a flicker of desire she could neither ignore nor control. "You think you can just declare desire, and it changes everything?" she asked, voice tight. "Not declare," he corrected softly, stepping closer still. "Reveal. The truth you've been trying to hide from yourself." Selene's fingers flexed at her sides. His proximity was dangerous, tempting, maddening. She wanted to push him away, to remind herself of her independence, her control, the fortress around her heart. But even as she tried, a part of her trembled at the intensity in his gaze. "You're reckless," she said, her voice almost a whisper, but the words carried like a strike, "and dangerous." "I thrive on danger," he said, voice low, a growl threading through it, especially when it comes wrapped in silk and fire. The words struck her like lightning. She hated him, hated that he had this effect on her. But even more than hatred there was fascination, an unavoidable pull toward him that made every logical thought falter. Adrian stepped closer, until the heat radiating from him brushed against her arm. She could smell him cologne, leather, something darker, deeper, intoxicating. Her body betrayed her, responding even as her mind screamed for caution. "You're impossible," she whispered, a tremor threading through her words. "And yet," he murmured, lips dangerously close to her ear. "You can't stop thinking about me." Selene shivered, trying to step back, but his hand caught hers. Warm, firm, possessive. She hated the electricity that shot through her at the contact, hated the way her resolve wavered. "Why are you like this?" she demanded, voice low, almost a growl. "Why do you insist on invading every part of my life? Why can't you just leave me alone?" "Because," he said, dark eyes locking onto hers, "I can't, and I won't. You're mine to chase, Selene, whether you fight me or not." Her pulse hammered in her chest. He had crossed every boundary she had carefully erected. And yet, the danger, the obsession, the darkness in him, it thrilled her. It made her feel alive in ways she hadn't admitted in years. "I should leave," she said again, voice trembling despite her effort to stay composed. "You won't," he said simply, stepping even closer. The heat between them was tangible now, a force that neither of them could resist, and you know it. Selene swallowed, feeling the magnetic pull of him, a temptation she wasn't prepared to face. She hated herself for being drawn in, for the way her heart pounded at his words, for the way her body leaned toward him despite every warning in her mind. "You think this is a game?" she whispered, breath shallow. "But it's not. It's dangerous. And messy." "It's real," he countered softly, but with a possessive edge that made her stomach twist. "And I don't care how messy it gets. You're worth it." The intensity in his eyes made her knees weak. She had faced countless adversaries, rivals, betrayals, and yet nothing had ever made her feel like this. Adrian Blackwood wasn't just a challenge. He was an obsession, a storm she couldn't resist. "You're impossible," she repeated, voice barely above a whisper. "And yet," he said, voice low, soft, and dangerous all at once. "You're still here, talking to me, listening, feeling this, aren't you?" Selena's chest tightened. He was right. She couldn't deny it. Every glance, every word, every brush of his hand against hers was drawing her deeper into the storm. She hated him for it, but the pull was irresistible. Adrian's lips curved into a dangerous smile. "I've waited for this," he said, voice dark and possessive. "For you to see it, to feel it, For us to stop pretending that it's all just a battle. Selene's breath hitched. Her pulse pounded in her ears as desire, fear, and fascination warred inside her. She wanted to resist, to reclaim her control, but something in his gaze, dark and obsessive, made her falter. "You're maddening," she whispered, stepping back, trying to keep some distance. "And you," he said, taking the step to close it again, "are irresistible. And I don't do well with what I want, not when it's you." The words hit her like a strike. She felt exposed, vulnerable in a way she rarely allowed. And yet, even in the flurry of emotions, even in the battle of wills, there was a thrill, a dangerous, intoxicating thrill that made her want to throw caution to the wind. "I should hate you," she whispered, voice trembling, "but I don't. Not entirely." Adrian's hand lifted to her cheek, brushing back a stray lock of hair with a tenderness that contradicted the storm in his gaze. "Good," he murmured, lips hovering dangerously close. "Because I don't want you to. I want this us." Selene's chest tightened, her body responding in ways she refused to acknowledge. She wanted to pull away, to remind herself of the rules, of the walls she had built. But the truth was terrifyingly simple. She wanted him, even if she hated that she did. "You're dangerous," she said, voice low, almost a tremble threading through it. "And yet," he whispered, brushing his lips against hers in a feather-light kiss, "you're still standing here, still fighting. And that is what makes you mine." Selene gasped softly, the brief contact igniting a fire she couldn't control. She tried to step back, but Adrian's hand at her waist held her firmly, possessively, drawing her closer without force. "This is insane," she whispered, voice trembling. We shouldn't," he echoed, lips brushing her temple, his voice dark, tender, and dangerous. "We should have realized a long time ago that we were already doomed, that we were already drawn to each other, that no fight, no walls, no pride, could stop this." Selene's heart raced. She hated that he was right, hated that her desire had already betrayed her, and yet, there was a part of her that thrilled in the chaos, in the danger, in the magnetic pull that Adrian Blackwood exerted over her. "You're impossible," she whispered again, breath hitching. "And yet," he murmured, lips brushing against hers again, a slow, tantalizing touch. "You can't resist me, not now, not ever." The night deepened, the city lights twinkling like fireflies below them, as two forces collided, fiery, obsessive, and utterly irresistible. Selene Moreau and Adrian Blackwood had crossed the line from battle to temptation, from resistance to the dangerous spark of surrender, and neither of them could turn back now.